this episode, Dude and Tyler sit down with our favorite golfer, JD, as he brings in some Jack Daniels Sinatra Select for them to taste. We also share some new Shart Stories, so tune in to find out what we think on this episode of The Bourbon Hunters. But before we get started, do you want to support our podcast? Do you like bourbon gear? Visit our website at www.bourbonhunters.com to buy some of our custom bourbon gear and support the podcast. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us on our hunt for great bourbon. Reward yourself and sit back, grab a pour, kick up your feet, and enjoy. Welcome to the Bourbon Hunters. I'm Duke Poole. I'm joined by... And? There it is. How do you spell that last name? No, don't tell people. You don't want people to know. Yeah. All right, so we just got done golfing.
We did.
Yeah, that was fun. 9 holes. 10
if you
I shot a great score for 18.
Yeah, a fantastic score.
I would have been about 10 under if I was shooting 18.
Yeah. We played at Tartan Fields where we were allowed to play. It's a very nice country club here in Columbus and beautifully kept. And we got a little bit of rain on us, especially the first hole. We got shit on.
That didn't bother me. I didn't mind that so much.
No, but it's
better than 100 degrees.
Yeah,
no breeze.
It was cool out. It was fucking a great day. But that first hole just kind of, when you're unprepared for it and it just all of a sudden starts shitting on you, you're just like, fuck, I just want to finish the hole.
Didn't bother me so much.
Yeah.
But thanks for having us on the course.
What did you end up with? What did you shoot?
43.
Oh, nice.
I had to count a couple penalties. I lost 2 balls.
I had a 43 after 4 holes.
Yeah.
No, I didn't shoot that
I shot a
poorly,
55, which certainly didn't play like that.
How many mulligans does that count?
Snack balls, breakfast balls.
I don't think I took any of my mulligans.
You mean count them in your score?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, like...
well, what about the one you hit 2 into the water?
I still took the drop on the other side of it.
On the other side. So
Yes.
so not a legal drop.
Yeah, I mean, I hit it in the water and it was like, okay, mulligan, hit again, right into the water. And I was like, fuck it, I'll just take 3 on the other side.
Well, so, I mean, on the other side.
Is this the par 3, number 6?
No, it was like
that one I took
something.
I took a penalty on too. Yeah, anytime that I'm out of bounds and can't hit it, I'm taking a penalty. Mm-hmm. So, we had a couple of I'm trying to think of. I thought the second hole I might have taken a mulligan, but I don't know if I used it or not. But
I used a few mulligans. I know that.
It was the best driving day of my life, I think.
Yeah, you were killing the ball off the tee. I was really surprised at how straight you were hitting them.
And I played with JD a couple of times, and none of the days were like that. So if I can just kind of pair some of the other things, I don't think I chipped particularly well on, and those are some
golf.
tough greens.
Putting it all together, that's the whole trick, right? Yeah. You'll have a day where you putt well, and everything else is shit.
Yeah.
Your short game's good, but your drive sucks. Putting's okay, and it just never lines up unless you play all the time.
Well, I don't think there's ever any round you're going out and playing with friends that you're just focused and zoned in, trying to shoot your best game.
Yeah. And I have a very hard time of you've talked about it with me as far as a pre-shot routine and being there. I have a very hard time with that and really kind of analyzing and taking my time on every shot. I do to an extent, but not like you really should.
Well, I mean, you have a pretty good happy feet routine right before you hit the ball.
Do I?
You sashay a little bit, yeah. There's a lot of movement and
but I'm not
shimmying and
what's his name? That he just won the Open, I think. That has the fucking 17 waggles before a shot.
Wyndham Clark. Yes, Wyndham
Yes,
Clark.
he literally does this fucking 20 times before every shot.
My dad, before every shot, would do that. He'd wiggle his ass, move his feet around, and then he would start what would look like it was backswing, then he would stop and then swing above the ball. Put it back, start, and then swing above the ball. And then he would finally take his real backswing. But it was a good 1 minute setup.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, come on. And then he'd yell at us for not golfing fast enough when people were pushing from behind. I'm like, Dad, you're the one taking like
It's you.
a minute every time you set up to the ball.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, you know where you're going.
That's fucking good.
But, I mean, he was a good golfer. He always golfed really well. This was the first time I have actually golfed on a course in 4 years. Like, I've been playing Top Golf and stuff like that, but...
You golfed for my diaper party in... That might have been the last time you golfed.
What?
Yeah. You golfed with us for my diaper party at Thornapple, and that was...
Oh, I did. That was like 2019.
2020.
Was it? Okay, so it's been
June.
over 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I wasn't too far off. But before that, it was with my dad in 2019 in March.
Yeah. Well, especially playing a hard course, you know, you can't ask for a better day than that.
Yeah, I mean,
really.
Thornapple's not really golfing either. I mean,
No.
you slice it, you're on the next fairway over, you can save your you save your hole still. I mean,
Whenever, you know, I shot a 46 there last week, and I was like, it
feels dirty.
feels dirty. And like my friends were like, oh, that's a pretty good round. I'm like,
Is it though?
that's bogey golf, and there it's pretty fucking bad.
I mean, that's still good.
Yeah.
But you're not punished for being not accurate.
You're never in the sand. You're rarely in the water.
Right.
Like you're not losing balls. Like, and again, you're right. Like I had a fucking great shot when I played at Thornapple the other day, where I fucking sliced into the other fairway and then hit a monster 7-iron back on. And I swear to God, I fucking hit it like 190.
So this is my outlook on playing a course like Thornapple. There's nothing wrong with it. To me, it's like in CrossFit, if you can lift all the weights and you can do all the movements and all that stuff, you do it RX, right?
Yeah.
Today we played RX.
Yeah.
But Thornapple is like level 2. It's
Yeah.
like scaling.
Yeah.
You know, you
But
don't have the sand, you don't have the trouble, you don't have all the trees, all that stuff. I mean, it's still golf. It's still giving you practice. You're getting better. And
Thornapple is a very long course. Playing from the whites,
Yeah.
it's 6,900 yards, which is
it's a decently long course.
Where what we played from the golds? What was the golds? Do you know?
It's about 68, 70.
Yeah. So it's fucking long. I will say that.
That's what she said.
Yeah. And the other thing, it's a really good place to work on your actual, like, not situational golf, but like your actual swing, and making good consistent contact.
Yeah.
When you brought this up at at Tartan today, is like every shot, like the ball is, you know, you're either the ball is above you, below you, you know,
And that's
up in your stance below is based off of like being on a hill, and that fucking shit.
if you don't know how to hit those balls,
Yeah.
like you were asking that one on the down, it was a
Number
downhill lie.
Yeah.
But the ball was a little above your feet. And what was it, number 8?
The number 9.
Number 9.
Yeah.
And you were asking, you know, JD, like, hey, how do I set this up? And I mean, you're right. If most people hit it like they normally would, the thing would have probably started off right, come back a little bit left, but
Yeah.
you gave him away kind of around that, and he still pushed it right.
Yeah. Well, I definitely pushed it right, but I actually made really good contact.
You did.
with
It sounded
like it was
good.
it was nice and flush, but it just came out to the right. You know.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest issue is it's one thing sitting at Top Golf hitting a mat, and even if you hit it fat, it slides through and you still make good contact, you know?
Yeah.
There, because of how nice the grounds are kept and it's soft, and if you hit early and you hit it fat, you're taking a chunk of grass with it and you're not making contact with the ball. And because of that, I know that in my head, I was hitting thin almost every shot. And I don't know if I was subconsciously lifting up just a little bit right before contact or what I was doing, just setting up wrong or what. But I was hitting a lot of balls thin. And that's what you don't get going to a place like Top Golf is that situational like lie. You know, and you're not getting a true hit through the ball. If you hit it fat, you're still hitting it and possibly getting good contact. But
Well, that's the thing about mats.
Yeah.
It's a deceiving good.
right.
Yeah.
You could be practicing a bad swing and not even realizing it because when we were there the last time, I hit a few fat, but they still went to the target
Yeah.
I was hitting to.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, you do that in a real golf course, it's going to slow down your swing because you're making contact with the grass. You might stay open. You might, you know, chunk it, not even get contact with the ball. And it's funny because back when I used to play all the time, I would swing down into the ball and I would get good contact, a nice backspin. and I'd hit him pretty true usually, and my biggest issue has always been my driver. And it got to a point where I was like just hitting my 3-iron off the tee because I could hit it 215, 220, just hitting that.
And you're like, well,
I'm like, why do I need to drive? Hit a 300, yard drive that actually only goes 150 because it slices 150 yards to the right. I mean, so I'd rather take a lesser hit and have a manageable shot. So,
you want to dive in here?
Yeah. So we haven't even said what we're doing yet, right?
No.
So we got Jack Daniels in front of us. We've got one of our original barrel picks from Bourbon Enthusiast which is phenomenal. Awesome. There were 2 different bottles in that same pick. You got one, I got both.
Yeah.
I remember it being outstanding.
It is.
We're using this, and I know it's kind of a backwards primer, but we're using this a little bit of a primer for the real treat today, hopefully, which is the Jack Daniels Sinatra Select, which I've never had before. Yep. And JD brought that for us to drink. So
so this right off the bat,
talk about the nose. Yeah,
to me is brown sugar oatmeal. And it's not just brown sugar; like it's the oatmeal kind of breadiness to it at the same time.
So I get on the nose. I get some brown sugar. I get almost like a cherry cola or something. Like it's a weird.
Yeah.
Cherry cola type of thing for me, and then I definitely get a little bit of the spiciness, like the alcohol. I think it is a higher proof. What is this one? 29.2 or 0.7?
130.9.
130. That was so close.
Well, for this being a primer, it's showing up.
Well, it's going to clear the sinuses for us.
Yeah,
which
for
is
sure.
Nice. So
for sure. And we're, again, kind of doing this backwards because the Sinatra's a 90 proof.
Right. But we wanted to get something in before the Sinatra is really what this is about. So we just wanted to hit something here before. So I know you knew a little bit about the Sinatra pick. Before we get to it, whatever you know about it, I've got some stuff pulled up too, so I'll let you introduce it if you want, since you brought it.
What do you, JD, have you, as we're priming this one, what do you think?
I think this pick is exceptional.
Yeah.
Very good.
It is.
I get like those caramels with the vanilla cream inside on the nose. Maybe a touch of like a monkey bread, baked monkey bread.
Ooh, that's not bad. That's a good. Oh, I can see that. Yeah, on the nose. Yeah. Now, what's interesting to me.
That second swig is amazing.
Yeah. So I've had a couple drinks already. The nose to me is in your face a little bit, not in a bad way. But it doesn't have the complexity on the nose, in my opinion, that the drink, like on the palate. Holy cow. I've had 3 drinks now, and I've gotten 3 different experiences on the palate so far. So the first one, I had a really interesting finish of like cherry cola on the back of the tongue. But since then, it's been like vanilla, Werther's Original, like brown sugar, like a whole mixture of stuff on the tongue. Like that, it's I've gone through the whole gamut of everything you could probably taste on a bourbon.
Yeah.
And it's all good. It's not like, none of it's like a bad or a funky or anything like that. It's just really good.
It's a great pick.
There's nothing stringent about that.
Right.
Great pick. All right. Should we dive into this Sinatra?
Damn. Not yet. I'm still enjoying this. So let's talk about the Sinatra, though, before we get to it. So, did you want to do a little song and dance, or you got...
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about the Sinatra Select. It was created to signify the relationship between Jack Daniels and Frank Sinatra. Back when Frank was in his heyday, he kept a cabinet fully stocked of Jack Daniels. It was kind of like a relationship that they had, and everywhere he went, he took Jack with him.
Nice.
And back then, it was 90 proof. Their flagship now is 80 proof, Old Number 7. And so this is more of back then with the barrels, they would slice them open to where they would have that char, but then they'd also have the toasted oak also exposed, so it's touching char and toast.
Ooh, very cool.
Giving it a more mellow, feel.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's like you said, this is supposed to be, I guess, an homage to Frank Sinatra. They say smoothest Sinatra on the site, which is, a funny kind of way to do that. I'll tell you though that I've never had the Sinatra Select. I'm not a fan. I shouldn't say I'm not a fan. I'll drink Jack Daniels old number 7. I'll drink it, and I'm like, when you go some places, sometimes that's all they have, and it's like vodka, or they have Jack Daniels, or they have some special drink that's at that event or something. I went to a murder mystery one time actually, and Jack Daniels was what they had, so I drank Jack Daniels that night, and it's fine. It's a sippable.
I hate it.
I mean, it's a sippable. That and Beam, they're just they're shelfers. They're low to mid level shelfers, and if that's all they have, I'd rather have that than anything else.
Yeah.
And they're drinkable. You can add them with ice. Mellows it down a little bit more, but I'll drink it and have no problem drinking it.
Sure.
Do I prefer it? Will I pick it? Do I have one? Do I have a standard Jack Daniels sitting on my shelf in the back? No, I don't. I never keep
proof,
it. Right, that's what I was going to say.
I don't think I've ever had a bad one.
Yeah, any of the barrel proof ones I've had so far have been phenomenal.
Yeah. And
that's what we're having right now. This is a Bourbon Enthusiast. I think it's the first Bourbon Enthusiast barrel pick he did with Jack Daniels, and he did 2 in the same one. And I'll tell you, you're right. I've never had a bad barrel proof single barrel from Jack Daniels. Every one of them have been really good for different reasons. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's what sold me on Jack Daniels as being good whiskey to begin with. It's like, okay, all right, this is actually really good, because I kind of just didn't care about Jack Daniels until this came out.
Sure.
And James from Bourbon Enthusiast sang the praises of this pick so much that we all bought it.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad I did, because it kind of changed my perspective on Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
So,
what word is synonymous with Jack?
I mean,
Coke.
Yeah, Jack and
Jack
Coke.
Everybody
Coke,
says
yeah.
Jack and Coke.
Yeah.
And so with that flagship.
Well, that's a lot of
7.
everyone's first entry into whiskey or bourbon, in
Typically,
my
yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
So this is just outstanding.
Yeah.
I keep drinking it, and this is so.
Really
I talk
good.
about this a lot all the time on the show, and for me, a good bourbon is one that you can drink for an entire evening, and it keeps telling a different story as you drink it. It doesn't just get flat as you drink it more. It's got complexity that I feel like the second glass, the third glass, the one that puts you to sleep, the fourth glass, will still be telling a different story as you're drinking it throughout.
It's so good.
Yeah, it is. It's outstanding. And this is one that I could sit down with all night long and continue drinking it.
Absolutely.
There are some bourbons that I really enjoy, but that second glass just doesn't keep telling the story. It's like, okay, we've gotten flat now, so I move on to something else. This is one I could stick with all night.
It evolves.
Yeah, I mean, the more you drink it, the more it's opening up on your palate, and that's what I love about bourbon. And to me, that with mouthfeel and stuff like that, that's what's going to make a bourbon go from good to great for me. That's what I'm looking for. All right, now what I'm looking for is a little bit more in my glass, because this one's empty.
I'm going to do the dude trademark and sniff it after.
Yeah, I love that, man. I just did that yesterday.
Yeah.
I was
The empty glass.
yeah, like there's something about sniffing the empty glass. I haven't talked about that in a while, to be honest, but that's funny that you bring that up. I do that all the time, and I'll take it from my couch, into at the end of the night into the kitchen to put in with the dishes and stuff, and I'll usually just steal a little sniff.
I get a little cinnamon.
Yeah, it's interesting what it reveals too, because you always get the oak.
Yeah.
The oak always becomes really evident on the glass after it's empty. But yeah, you'll catch some notes sometimes that you didn't get when you sniffed it, originally, when it was filled with liquid. But I still do that to this day. That's funny that you say that.
If I wake up the next morning and my glass is there, I'll sniff it the next morning.
I think that's even better, honestly, because it's had a chance to air out and it has some, I don't know, get some new properties. But the oak will always be there. That's what I love about that. All right, let's do the Sinatra Select. So this is a 90 proofer. So this is a 1 liter bottle. That's what's cool. To me, that's really cool.
Made the way back in the 60s and 50s.
Yeah, and it's got the little hat, the top hat, or whatever you want to call it, fedora or whatever. His signature sitting on there's a sticker of that at the top of the bottle.
I should have brought it in the box. There's a little booklet that you get with it that talks about the history of Frank Sinatra.
Oh, really?
With Jack Daniels, yeah.
It's a cool bottle. I mean, it's reminiscent of their regular bottle, shape and stuff. It's got the embossing and things on it. But it's just got a nice little Sinatra Select part to it. Looks really good. I'm actually pretty excited about that. So let's start getting into this one and nosing it. We've already lost Tyler to the internet, so
No, we're good.
oh man, that nose.
Isn't it different?
It is. It's almost like bubblegum.
Ooh.
Tyler or Brett wouldn't like that.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
It's a good thing he's not here, I guess.
Yeah.
You get bubblegum?
I chewed a lot of Bubblicious as a kid.
But I mean, are you getting that?
I didn't see that.
It's like the powdered sugar, like when you open up the package of like the Topps, baseball cards. That's what I'm getting. Is that?
It's like the Big
Yeah.
League Chew.
Yeah, that too. It's almost like
Which is bubblegum, but
the gum. No, but the gum with like the powdered sugar,
Yeah.
not just regular bubble gum,
Yeah.
but bubble gum like that has the powdered sugar with it.
I get a more pronounced banana with this too than with their.
I am getting banana underneath of that. I was about to say that. There's definitely and it's funny. The more and more the bubblegum flavor is now for me becoming banana. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Because like when I originally did it, it was like pure bubblegum right on the nose. But the more and more I nose it, it's becoming banana. And that to me, because Old Forester, Jack Daniels, they're all sharing that same, mash bill basically. Whew. Man. All right, I'm going to dive into this. What'd you get on the nose, Mr. Internet?
I mean, it's the same thing. Yeah, I'm not picking up too much more. I get a little bit of cherry sweetness, and more medicinal cherry.
Yeah, okay. I'm going in. I definitely get the dusty...
It's very woody.
I was going to say nut, like a peanut dust, dusty
Yeah.
kind of taste to it. All the other flavors that we got on the nose are there, but they're a little more muted than the nose.
And we're probably doing this a little bit of disservice by having 130 proof and then going down 40 proof. And
But you know what? Greg Metz, what's he do when he tastes his whiskey? He puts it down to 40 proof.
Yep.
And
but does he start with 140
or
proof?
not 40,
or 130 proof?
The rumor is 5 to 7 years on this too.
Yeah. I'm telling you, this is the nose on this is just phenomenal. And this is something that
It's got some good lingering flavor too.
Yeah, I was going to say this is something I feel like I could sip on for an evening.
It's got a touch of like a dusty note in there.
Yeah, for sure. Like an old funk kind of. Mouthfeel's not too thin. It's got a little bit of oiliness to it.
Decent legs.
And I'll tell you, it had the mouthfeel on the first one we did, that barrel pick, the single barrel, that was ridiculous. But it's also barrel proof. They're not watering it down. The mouthfeel on that one was phenomenal. This one is actually for a 90 proof, because they've probably watered it down a little bit. It's not too bad.
Are these uncut, unfiltered?
I don't know about that. It's a Lincoln County process, so it's not unfiltered. It would be, but that's before they put it into the barrel. The Lincoln County process. If you don't know about the Lincoln County process,
It's the distillate, right?
so what they do is before they put it into the barrel, they run it through the carbon, whatever you call it, charcoal.
Mellowing.
Yeah, and so and a lot of people will say that's why it's not bourbon, but that is completely false. It is bourbon if they want it to be bourbon. They just choose it to not be called bourbon. And the reason that it's not additive, it's actually the charcoal mellowing, or Lux Row does the same thing with their Ezra Brooks. It even says it right on the bottle, charcoal mellowed, because that's a subtractive, not an additive. So you're allowed to do something that's subtractive to bourbon. You just can't do something that's additive. And so what it does is it pulls out some of those impurities. It pulls out some of those other things to let the other flavors come through. It's not adding flavor to it. It's subtracting flavor out of it, and it's pulling out those impurities. So that's why it could, if they wanted to be, still considered bourbon. Mm-hmm. And it's not an argument. If you feel that's incorrect, then you're just wrong. The master distillers of Jack Daniels even say they've been on record plenty of times that they're bourbon. They just choose to be called Tennessee whiskey.
Yeah.
They created their own subcategory, and that's fine.
It's distinguishing.
Yeah, whatever.
Distinguishing.
They want to be called Tennessee whiskey, and they want to call, reference to the state that they're from and all that stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that. I have no problem with that.
So are there other companies in Tennessee that use that Lincoln County process that call it Tennessee whiskey?
Yeah, almost all of them.
Okay.
To be called Tennessee whiskey, you have to use the Lincoln County process. You cannot be a Tennessee whiskey without the Lincoln County process. So Uncle Nearest, that's Lincoln County process. I think anything that says Tennessee whiskey, to be honest, it's all Lincoln County process. So anything that says that is using that process.
Didn't Nearest derive from Jack Daniels though?
Yeah. If you and here's a great resource. If you go to the Uncle Nearest website, they have a great story. It's narrated and told by one of my favorite actors from the Westworld
Tom
show.
Cruise.
Shut up. From the Westworld show on HBO, and he goes through, tells the story of Uncle Nearest and how he was. And you're asking me this, and I think his name was Nathan. I could be completely wrong because I haven't.
Nathan for you.
Shut up. Anyway, it's like Nathan.
Have you ever seen that show?
It's like Nathan.
No.
Oh my God.
Have you ever seen Nathan for you?
No.
Oh God.
Can you hijack anything else?
No.
Anyway, so basically the story is that Jack Daniels, the original distiller, was a black man who I think was referred to as Uncle Nearest. And I'm probably doing this a disservice because I don't have this in front of me. I was not prepared to talk about this, which I probably should have been because we are doing Jack Daniels. But anyway, at some point, he was the master distiller. He was trusted by Jack Daniels to do the distilling, to help out with all of that stuff. And I believe he might have even been the one that came up with the Lincoln County process. So, and like there were some historical people in his family that I think started that process and then brought it to Jack Daniels basically when he came. And so yeah, I mean, look up the Uncle Nearest story. It's a great read. You can find it on Google, I'm sure. But if you go to the Uncle Nearest Distillery website, they have a good narrated, produced version of that story. It's nice and it's informative and it's really good. I want to say Nathan Green, but I went to school with a Nathan Green, so that might not be right. But I think it is Nathan Green. And Uncle Nearest, I believe, was his nickname. I could be wrong.
It's very interesting.
But yeah, I might look it up here in a second before we finish this. Who knows? But all right, what do you guys take another drink of this real quick and then nose it afterwards? Tell me your final thoughts on this Sinatra Select.
We have some stories to tell too, by the way.
Yeah, that's what we're getting ready to tell next. So I'm going to start. We're going to make this a Shart Stories episode.
My favorite.
So if you've been tuning in and you've been hearing some of our Shart Stories, this is going to be an episode where we talk about some Shart Stories. So I'm going to start with mine. Tyler, you've got one that you've been dying to tell all day.
Yeah.
And then it sounds like JD, you've got one as well. So we're going to have a triple Shart story here. Triple Shart. So I didn't quite have a Shart incident, but I was very close. So my wife and I went to First Watch, and that's a local brunchy type lunch place around here. And so we went there, and then afterwards, you guys, if you've been following, I've been getting some remodeling done in the house. I had to pick up some stuff at Lowe's for the contractor. And we were on our mission in Lowe's. Trina's taking forever to make her decision, and I get the liquefying gurgle. Good. It's basically like the 10-minute, warning. Yeah. Like, you better find a bathroom soon. So I felt the gurgle just go all the way from my intestines all the way up into my stomach, and it's just like, oh shit. And I knew that it was on. I was on the clock. Trina's sitting there dilly-dallying, taking her time, trying to make a decision, and I'm just like, and I'm standing over, like, in the middle of the aisle, and I'm leaning on something. And she looks over at me, she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm doing everything I can right now not to shit my pants. And she goes, oh God. And she goes, oh God. And so she finally made her decision. Maybe I should do that every time she's taking her time at the store. I don't know. But she finally makes her decision. We go up to the register, and the lady at the register decides that it's time to get to know her customers and wants to ask every question. And I'm just like, this is not the time for this nonsense. So I'm like, short answers, yes, no, nice to meet you, and we're out the door. I'm walking like I'm trying to carry a Pringle between my butt cheeks without breaking it. Yeah. I am, very, very tight.
And it's not a far drive, but there's so many lights.
But there's so many lights. It's a 10-minute drive, even though it's maybe 2 miles away.
Yeah. It's
a 10-minute drive from Lowe's to my house. And so we get in the car. The first contraction hits. And if you've ever had this in the car, and you're not going to shit your pants in the car if you can help it, right? And especially you're in your car, you don't want to shit your pants. So you're basically standing up in the car. Your butt's not actually touching the leather because you are clenching. You're putting all the force into your feet, and you're holding onto that steering wheel. And I'm sweating.
I'm having PTSD.
I'm sweating. And so, false alarm. I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be a good trip. I hit all the green lights for the first half of the way. Yeah. And so my mind starts to relax. I'm starting to think, okay, everything's going my way. All right. So this is going to be fine. I'm going to get home. It's okay. Second half of the drive, I hit every light. And then we get to the roundabouts. There's like 4 of them between Lowe's and my house. And we get to the roundabouts, and holy shit, if you wanted to pick a day where someone didn't know what the fuck they were doing in a roundabout, this was the day. I had people yielding in the roundabout to the people waiting outside of the round. I'm like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I actually honked I'm not a horn honker. I'm not. My wife will reach across the car and honk the horn for me when she gets upset with someone. I am not a horn honker. I just don't do it. Yeah. I'm pretty patient for the most part. I do get the very, very, very minimal road rage. This is one of those times, and it went through the roof. I was honking the horn. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And like I'm fighting a losing battle at this point. Like, honest to God, it's on the edge. It was all liquid, so there was no turtle poking its head out. There was no touching cotton. If it was out, it was out. It was going to be in my seat. So I'm doing everything I can. If you ever wear a Whoop, it measures your strain throughout the day. My strain went from like a 10 to like a 15 after this drive home. I get into the house. We pull into the garage, and my pain just went away. I was like, oh my God. Whew, yeah. I made it. So, but then if you've ever had one of these situations, there's this false sense of like you're almost there and your body just starts to relax. Right? So I get to the house, I open the door, and so right now, that day there was no door on our bathroom because they were changing out the doors. And it was the weekend, so there was no door from Friday all the way to Sunday. There's a door there now, but there's no hardware, so you can see through the doorknob hole, right? Because there's no doorknob. But anyway, I get in the house. I'm like, Trina, I'm going upstairs because there's no door on the downstairs bathroom. I'm not shitting open air. I'm just not doing it. I'm not shitting al fresco. Yeah. It's not happening. So, because I didn't know if my son and his girlfriend were there, or they had friends over for the weekend, so I don't know if they were there. Like, I had no idea what was going on. I'm like, I'm going upstairs. So as soon as I get in the door, I go up 2 steps, and it hits me. And I fall to my knees, and I'm like, oh, God. And I'm sitting there, like, on my knees, 2 or 3 steps up, and my wife hadn't come in yet. And so I'm sitting there like everything in my body is clenched right now. Yeah. Everything. She comes in the door and she just starts laughing. And I'm like, shut the fuck up, don't laugh. And I'm like doing everything I can not to shit my pants. I'm like, oh my God, Trina, you're going to have to take Bella outside because I'm going to shit in this downstairs bathroom. Door or not, I'm shitting in the downstairs bathroom because I'm not making it up the stairs. And I'm like, everything in my body's tensed right now. I'm like, oh my God, fight this thing back up into the intestines. Fight it back up. And so it finally dissipates. I start undoing my belt while I'm in this position. And then I get off the stairs, go into the bathroom, which is like maybe 10 feet away.
Yeah.
And as soon as I sit down, I am Jackson Pollock all over that toilet. Like, honest to God, if there was a way to sell that, it probably could have sold for some big bucks.
Yeah.
You're Harry from Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite the Turbo Lax, but it was a pure Jackson Pollock.
That's fucking good.
It was disgusting, and I'm not going to kid here because the door was open and I ruined the house for probably an hour. There was no door to hold it in, and so the fan was getting some of it, but I ruined the house. We had to take the dog for a walk. We came back in, and it was like, it was disgusting.
Yeah.
All right. That was my story.
Good one.
So,
Nice.
Tyler, you've been chomping at the bit to tell the story.
So it's not necessarily Shart, but my worst nightmare as a parent happened.
Mine wasn't a Shart either.
So I take Carter to swim lessons.
Please tell me there was a brown cloud in the water around Carter. Please tell me.
So I take them, and swim lessons are 30 minutes, and this is not like a...
How old's Carter now?
2.5.
Okay. So he's still wearing swimmies and stuff?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, and so he has a disposable swim diaper, and then a reusable swim diaper that goes over that.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then his swim shorts that go over that. And classes are 30 minutes long. He's doing good. And mind you, it's not like, there's some odd off places that do swim, but this is a swim school where it's located. And outside of the pool is just all glass with like parents and kids and everything waiting, and then the next group waiting as well. And so we're towards the end, right? And I'm like, there was something where I'm kind of holding Carter, and I'm like, that doesn't feel like his swimsuit. And it was like gushy. And I'm like, what is this? And I kind of like turn him around or like kind of peek over, and I see like a couple of like diarrhea floaties, like not like hard turds, like diarrhea floaties. And I'm just like, and I look to the instructor, I'm like, he pooped. And I was like, and she's like, code brown. Code brown. That's their name for it.
What else would you call? What else would you say?
I don't know, but
Code
like
Brown. That's
Code
it.
Brown.
That's the right name.
And so he shit in the pool. They had to get everyone out of the pool and basically close it. And we're talking about probably, including some of the parents that were in there, maybe 40 people in this pool, because there's 12 lanes.
And then Bill Murray comes in, sweeps it clean, grabs it, and is like, oh, it's just a baby Ruth.
Yeah, so, they sent everyone to the showers, and there's showers on like the side. There's like an open air shower. Yeah. They sent everyone to the showers, and like, he didn't really have anything on the shower, and I'm like, so we grab our stuff, we go into, I actually went into, like, they have changing rooms and they have restrooms. So we went into the restroom and they had a changing table, and I like lay him down, and everything is like soaked, like everything. So I'm taking everything off, and like, there's just like poop water, like settled at the bottom of the changing table. So Carter's like laying in, yes.
Did you taste it to compare?
Carter's like laying in shit water, like. And so I get him off, and I use like fucking 60 wipes to like fucking wipe him off. And there's poop water, like, and then I take the diaper and I'm walking over to the trash. There's poop water dripping, so I'm cleaning the fucking thing. I'm cleaning myself up. All by myself. Jillian's at home with the baby. So I'm doing this all by myself, and I'm just like, my kid's the one that shit in the pool that closed it down. We haven't been back since and canceled our membership.
You did?
Yeah.
You canceled your membership?
Haven't been back. I'm not going to be the pool.
Did Jillian make you?
No, but I told her, I was like the next weekend when Carter was going to the pool anyway. But I'm also like, we're this fucking pool shitter parents. So like, and I told Jillian, I was like, I'm not, at least for a couple of times, I'm not going back. It's you can take him.
The code brown led to a code red membership.
Yes, and as
code brown.
Yes, they literally call it code brown. Code Brown. And they're like, and some of the other people are like, what? Like, what? So, and she's like, Code Brown, Code Brown, Code Brown. Like, she's like screaming it. And so, yeah.
I feel like that's something out of a movie.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
It was my worst nightmare. I was like, Carter just shit in the pool. This is happening. We clear the pool and they have to shut it down. And I just see the girl just fucking like, with one of the pool cleaner skimmers. And she's fucking trying to swipe the fucking shit out.
Oh, shit.
But like, God. I mean, honestly, it was just as bad in the bathroom of like, trying to clean up, like it wasn't like a turd or so in his like he blew it out, and now, so everything was just water poop everywhere.
Water poop.
There's water poop everywhere.
Let me ask you this: He
has no idea.
No idea. So he's just smiling.
No, he has no idea what's going on.
He's smiling like oh, Dad changed my diaper.
Yeah, like and
let me.
And I was just like cleaning him up as much as fucking possible.
But let me ask you this: so, does he respond poorly to like apple juice?
I don't know that like
both Brylan and Jacob, we had to water down. We had to do half and half, water and apple juice.
Yeah, for sure.
Because when he would have apple juice, he would shit up his back every time.
Yeah.
Within an hour of having apple juice, he would shit up his back, and he wasn't allergic to apples.
No,
he just,
we'll do that because there's a lot of sugar in it anyway, so we'll water it down. And he can't tell. The only one nothing does that for sure, and he hasn't had like blowouts in a long time where it's like on his clothes. You know what I mean? Outside of his diaper.
Right.
But and I'm telling you, it went through a disposable one, a reusable one.
I mean, he's surrounded by water, so it's just going to liquefy. I mean,
eventually it's just going to
make its way out. Yeah.
Unless it was like even if it was like a turd.
Oh, that's like, funny.
But yes, he shit the pool. He shit in the pool and cleared it out and shut it down.
Well, he shut down the pool.
Yeah. And that, like fucking
that's pretty damn funny.
Yeah. And so
I had tears.
I had to close my eyes. I was getting close.
Yeah.
That was funny.
there's so many shit stories.
I thought my story was pretty good. And then your story came in and trumped it. That was good.
This year has been filled with shit.
Yeah, yours had you have had some seriously. You've had a shitty year. Literally.
No, but like as a parent too, you're just like this isn't happening. My kid just shit the fucking pool. Like it's just my worst nightmare. Like and because you're like everyone's like all the parents like because in the one section that we're in because there's 12 lanes and all the other ones have like just kids in them, and ours is the only one with parents in them. And they're all kind of like, we had to end class early. Yeah. The other one's canceled. Like they're fucking showing up and they can't go in. You know what I mean? We just ruined people's days. You know what I mean?
Well,
I was the fucking
you've got to,
parent.
As a parent, you've got to at least be.
No,
it's not like it was like
I'm not the first.
The senior citizens had their swimming lanes afterwards canceled.
Yeah,
it was all kids. Like you got to, as parents, you got to think that's going to happen from time to time. But that's still funny.
Yeah,
that's still funny. I remember. When we were in diaper bag years for Brylan, we had 2 changes of clothes in the diaper bag at all times because Brylan would shit up his back at a moment's notice, and you were like, "Fuck!" Like we got burned a couple times, and then we were just like, "All right, we're gonna keep a couple changes of clothes."
I was at the doctor's office with Carter today. Halfway through, I was like, "You shit?" I was like, "You shit?" Yeah. So we had to wait until we got all the way down through everything and out to the car, and I fucking changed him in the car.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
There's the tailgate and the trunk.
Yeah.
Changing station basically. Those were in our cars. Yeah. All right. So JD, you got a lot to live up here.
I don't know if I can top that. That was funny. So mine's about 7 years ago. I was living in Alabama. So summers are hot.
Yes.
Oh.
Grossly hot.
You're already talking swamp ass.
Yeah. So we're hosting the Barbasol PGA Tour Championship. This is the week of a lot of work, a lot of hours. I think I had 89 hours that week.
Jesus.
I was one of 2 irrigation technicians at Grand National down there, and we had 3 18-hole courses, two 18-hole courses, and then a par 3 18-hole.
Yeah.
And so the tournament's going on. We have a lot of volunteers. So there's about 40, 50 people down at our shop. And every morning when we get done, because we're starting at 2:30 in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, they bring buffet breakfast.
Oh, nice.
Nice. We're going to get to this part. Eggs, sausage, just the gambit of breakfast food. So I'm outside, tournaments going on, moving equipment. I'm on a tractor, and I start to get cramps. Never a good sign.
Yeah, all right.
Got the cramps, bubble gut. And there's a moment when, like, you can almost tell the difference between turtling and farting, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Sometimes, yeah.
you're almost playing Russian roulette with your underwear.
Yeah.
Because you're like, is this a blank or is this the thing, you know? And I'm on the tractor moving. There's a bunch of people. I'm like, lean to one side a little bit. And it's like, that wasn't.
Not a fart. Not a fart.
Not a fart. This is code brown.
Immediate code brown.
Immediate code brown.
Oh, that is forever in my lexicon now. Code brown is going to be there forever.
Code brown.
That is great.
And it's a terrible feeling because it's like warm.
So that part's nice.
I mean, well, it's already hot, but we have Cinta's uniforms that we get. And so we got hangers and stuff in our shop, and
the poor soul that had to fucking pick that one up.
so I parked the tractor, and you don't want to be too eager to get in there. You know, you don't want to give it away like, the speed walk.
Yeah.
And so I'm just kind of nonchalant, but you don't want to be too nonchalant where they can smell it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there's a medium here. And so I race back into the shop, and I grab a pair of my shorts off the hanger, and I walk in the bathroom, look around, shut the door, and I went commando the rest of the day. I threw away the underwear.
I mean, what other option
disguised,
do you have?
Disguised the shorts.
There's no other option.
In the dirty clothes pile, you know, you like grab a handful.
Put stuff underneath,
yeah. But, I mean, they're going to know because your number's on them.
Oh.
You know? But they don't know me.
Yeah.
And, that was a terrible day.
What was your number?
31.
So now what that country club now says, we got a 31.
We got a 31.
We got code brown. We got a code brown at yours, and we got a code 31 at yours. So from now on, hey guys, we've got a 31 here in the laundry basket.
We got a 31. That's fucking good.
That's good stuff. All right. So final thoughts. Frank Sinatra or the Sinatra Select Jack Daniels. What do you think?
I enjoyed it. It might be hard to get at $150 MSRP.
Yeah, I don't know that it's worth $150.
Yeah.
Maybe the packaging, the story behind it, all that stuff.
Sure.
It's good. Did we do a disservice doing it after the barrel proof? Maybe. I mean, I liked it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's just.
I think it's very different from their old number 7.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. And for that part, I like it. And I did think it was good for sure.
I would not steer away from it. You know, especially if you can try it for a good pour.
And it is a liter for $150 too.
Yeah,
so you're getting an extra $250. So
I'm looking for a showpiece. You know,
the bottle looks amazing.
Yeah.
If it comes in a box, like you were saying, I mean that all that stuff plays into it for me.
Yeah.
And $100, I'd probably pull the trigger. $150, I'd maybe if I just wanted to have it in my collection.
When you're talking about that very unique proof point of being 90, like that's a rarity in itself. You're not going to get that. So
right.
You know.
If you're a fan of Jack Daniels, this is definitely something I think you would want to get, and you would want to get to keep it collected on your shelf. It's a nice bottle. It sounds like it comes with a box and some information, about the story and everything. I think all that plays into it. To me, that's more of a collector bottle as opposed to a drinkable bottle. Generally speaking, if it was $150, I'd expect it to be in that 12 to 15 year range.
Yep.
But it doesn't have to be. I mean, if you're making this more of a collector's thing and it's a namesake Sinatra, maybe it's a special release.
Did they do 10, 12 years back when Sinatra was alive?
I have no idea.
It's more of an homage to what he drank.
Right. Yeah, I have no idea. I just know a lot of times that $10 a year is a pretty good, gauge for paying a little bit more like that. But it's also an LTE. So anytime you do a limited time, or LTO or whatever you call it, a limited time offer or once a year release or once every so often release, that commands a little extra premium too.
Absolutely.
So, that's fine with me. I'm not upset about the price. I don't know that I'm going to rush out and buy one. But if I have a little extra and I want to throw that into my collection, I'd probably grab
For sure.
it.
There's a lot of things that we've gotten that we've added to the collection. It's a nice collection, but
You'd never buy again.
I'd probably never buy again. And if it's one of those.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what this would be. I wouldn't drink through it quickly.
Yes. Yeah.
So it would be there for a while, and I'd get a lot out of it. I think. I just, so I'd say it's a buy if you're a Jack Daniels fan.
Yes.
And you're a Frank Sinatra fan. I think it's a buy. Even at that price, I wouldn't pay more than what it's asking, the MSRP.
Yeah, I don't know that there's.
But the fact that it's a full liter.
Is there a secondary on it?
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, 200. I think it's secondary, but right now they're around right now.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, if they're around and you can get them in Ohio, it's 150. So honestly, that's not too bad.
I would like to see how that stacks up against the Luke Bryant one?
Eric Church.
Eric Church.
Yeah. And what's the other one? The big one, the Coy Hills. That's the other.
Yeah.
That's the big one.
I want to.
But that's a higher proof
Cardinal
too.
Sin and pair that with Coke and see how that does.
Just see what it tastes like. That's not a Cardinal Sin. Drink it. It's your bourbon, your way.
Drink it how
That's
you
all.
like it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't give a shit. If you're spending the money on the bourbon,
You can
drink it however you want. If you're coming over to my house and drinking my nice bourbon, no, you're not adding it to Coke. But if you're drinking your own bourbon at home, do whatever the hell you want with it. I don't care.
I never thought I'd come across another one, so I bought it, and that's my backup.
That's your backup.
Nice.
Yeah. So you've already been through a bottle then?
No, I still have one unopened.
Oh, so you have
yeah.
this is the one to smash, and you've got
Yeah.
one stashed.
Yeah.
Got it.
I like that.
All right.
I mean, it tastes fucking good.
Yeah, I like it.
really
It's
does.
good.
I'll have a lot of people interested in wanting to try it, and they'll be able to.
Nice.
Yeah,
Very
that's
cool.
good. All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for joining in for this episode. We will see you next week. We're actually having JD back on next week to do it blind. I can't wait to do that episode. That'll be a fun one to go through. I love when people give us blinds, especially when we don't
have
really know
no
their
idea, and it doesn't happen often.
Yeah.
You want a teaser?
No.
No, it's
We'll
easy.
talk about it next week when we do the episode. Thanks for joining in. Still send in those emails, Bourbon Blitz in the subject line, and give us a reason why you'd want to go on the bourbon trail with us. Thanks a lot. Talk to you next week.
Thank you for joining in for yet another episode of the Bourbon Hunters. If you like what you hear, please leave us a good rating on Apple, Podbean, Google, or wherever you are listening. It definitely helps us to get great guests on our show. And follow us on Instagram and the Facebooks to keep up to date with what is in our glass. As always, sit back, grab a pour, kick up your feet, and enjoy some bourbon.